Have you ever finished a slice of cake or a sugary snack and thought, why do I feel so tired all of a sudden? Or maybe you've noticed that the more sweets you eat, the more you seem to crave them, even when you're not really hungry. If that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. And it's not your fault. Sugar has a sneaky way of slipping into our lives, especially in foods we don't even think of as sweet, like sauces, salad dressings, crackers, or even bread. Now, I'm not here to scare you or make you feel bad about enjoying a cookie now and then. Life is meant to be enjoyed, and food is one of the great pleasures of life. But if you're starting to feel like your energy isn't what it used to be, if your skin looks duller, or your joints are stiffer, or your memory isn't quite as sharp, well, sugar might have more to do with that than you think. You see, sugar doesn't just give us a quick burst of energy. It affects our bodies in deeper, more lasting ways, especially as we age. And I want to walk with you through some of the ways sugar may be speeding up the aging process, not just on the outside, but inside, where it really matters. Let's start with something most people don't think about until it becomes a problem: our skin. You might think wrinkles are just about getting older or being out in the sun too much, and yes, those things do play a part. But sugar plays a much bigger role than people realize. When you eat sugar, especially in large amounts or over a long period of time, it creates something in your body called advanced glycation end products, AGEs for short. And wouldn't you know it, that acronym is perfect because these little troublemakers literally age your skin. They break down collagen and elastin, the proteins that keep your skin firm, plump, and smooth. So if you've ever wondered why your skin seems less vibrant, or why wrinkles are showing up faster than you expected, sugar might be a silent culprit. But it's not just your skin. Sugar affects your brain, too. And I think we can all agree, there's nothing more frustrating than forgetting names, losing your train of thought, or walking into a room and thinking, now what did I come in here for? That kind of foggy feeling gets more common as we get older, but sugar can make it worse. Studies have shown that high sugar intake can actually shrink the part of the brain that's in charge of memory. It can interfere with learning, focus, and even increase your risk for conditions like dementia and Alzheimer's. Think about that. Something as simple as too much sugar could be making it harder for your brain to stay sharp and clear. And then there's your energy. You might think sugar gives you energy, and yes, it does, but it's a trick. It's like putting paper in a fire. It burns fast and bright, but then it's gone, and you're left with nothing. That's why people get that sugar crash. You feel tired, cranky, and maybe even a little anxious. And what do we usually do when that happens? We reach for more sugar. It's a roller coaster, and one that gets harder to ride as we age. Our bodies just aren't as quick to bounce back from those spikes and crashes. Over time, this can lead to insulin resistance, weight gain, and even type 2 diabetes. And those conditions don't just affect your energy, they impact your eyes, your kidneys, your circulation, and more. Now, I know this might sound like a lot. And you might be thinking, I've eaten sugar my whole life, what difference does it make now? But let me tell you, it makes a world of difference. Because your body is still changing, still healing, still adapting, no matter how old you are. And the choices you make today can absolutely shape the way you feel tomorrow. The good news is, you don't have to cut out every sweet treat or swear off sugar forever. This isn't about punishment, it's about empowerment. It's about understanding what sugar is doing behind the scenes, and making gentle, doable changes that support your health, your energy, and your independence. Even small shifts can lead to big results. Let's talk about inflammation. If you've ever had stiff knees, a sore back, or swollen fingers, you know what inflammation feels like. And sugar? It fuels that fire. Literally. It increases inflammation in your body, especially when you eat it regularly. Chronic inflammation is behind so many age-related conditions, arthritis, heart disease, even some cancers. So every time you skip the sugary soda or the extra dessert, you're not just saying no to sugar, you're saying yes to less pain, better mobility, and more freedom to move through your day. And speaking of movement, let's talk about muscles. As we get older, we naturally lose muscle mass. That's just part of the aging process. But sugar speeds it up. It interferes with the way your body builds and maintains muscle, and it contributes to fat gain, especially around the belly. That kind of fat, called visceral fat, isn't just extra padding. It wraps around your organs and increases your risk of serious health problems. But when you reduce sugar, your body becomes more efficient. It's better able to use protein. You hold onto more muscle, feel stronger, and stay more active. If you've been feeling frustrated by stubborn belly fat, tired muscles, or slow recovery after exercise, it's worth taking a look at how much sugar is sneaking into your day. Because once you start cutting back, the difference can be dramatic. You might sleep better. You might wake up with more energy. Your clothes might fit differently. Your doctor might even start smiling more when they see your test results. It's also important to look at how sugar affects your heart. This one surprises a lot of people because we've always been told to watch out for fat when it comes to heart health. But the truth is, sugar is a big player in heart disease. It raises your blood pressure. It increases bad cholesterol. It inflames your blood vessels. Over time, all of that wears down your heart and increases your risk of heart attack or stroke. And the worst part? You don't even have to eat a ton of it to see those effects. Even moderate sugar consumption can be damaging if it's consistent over years. But it's never too late to turn things around. In fact, people over 60 often see the most dramatic improvements when they reduce sugar. Why? Because your body is so ready for relief. Your systems have been carrying that sugar load for decades, and when you give them a break, they respond beautifully. Your blood pressure can drop. Your blood sugar levels stabilize. Your energy returns. Your digestion improves. Your skin glows a little more. And your brain starts to feel a little clearer, a little sharper, a little more like you again. And I know, it's hard. Sugar is everywhere. It's in your morning cereal, your coffee creamer, your bread, your sauces, your snacks. It's in healthy foods like yogurt and granola bars and fruit juice. But awareness is the first step. Once you start noticing where sugar hides, you can start making choices that feel good and support your health, not just today, but in the months and years ahead. Now that we've talked about what sugar does to your skin, your brain, your heart, and your energy, let's move on to something just as important: how sugar affects your immune system and your body's ability to fight off illness. How sugar affects your immune system and your body's ability to fight off illness. You know, when we were younger, getting a cold or flu was usually just a few days of rest and soup, and we bounced back pretty quickly. But as we get older, our immune system naturally slows down. It's not as fast or as strong in spotting and fighting off invaders. And sugar, unfortunately, makes that job even harder. Every time you eat something high in sugar, especially refined sugar like what's in candy, soda, or baked goods, it suppresses your immune system for hours. Imagine your white blood cells, the little soldiers in your body that fight off bacteria and viruses. Well, after a sugary snack, it's like they take a nap. They become sluggish and less effective. And when that happens again and again, day after day, your defenses stay lowered. You might find yourself getting sick more often or having a harder time recovering from something that used to be no big deal. And it's not just about colds or flus. This also affects how your body handles inflammation, infections, even wounds, and recovery from surgery. Healing slows down. You bruise more easily. You stay sore longer. And if you've ever wondered why your body takes longer to bounce back after something minor, sugar could be playing a bigger role than you thought. Now, I want to talk about something that's a little more personal but very real: mood. As we get older, emotional wellness becomes even more important. We want to feel steady, hopeful, calm. But sugar can wreak havoc on our emotions. That quick hit of sweetness may feel comforting for a moment, but it often leads to a crash. You might feel irritable, anxious, or even down afterward. It's like your body and brain are on a blood sugar roller coaster, and that instability can chip away at your emotional balance. And let's be honest, aging can be stressful on its own. There are changes happening all the time, with our health, our family, even how we spend our days. We need every bit of mental and emotional strength we can get. And cutting back on sugar is one simple, powerful way to support that. Now here's something that might surprise you. Sugar doesn't just affect how we feel, it can affect how we look, too. You might be thinking, I'm not worried about looks at this point in life, and that's fair. But we all want to look as healthy and vibrant as we feel, right? Well, sugar is sneaky. We talked earlier about how it affects your skin by damaging collagen, but it also contributes to puffiness, under-eye bags, and even adult acne. So if you've noticed your skin looking dull or inflamed, or if you're using more makeup or creams than you used to, it might not be your age, it might be your diet. Cutting back on sugar, even just a little at a time, can brighten your skin, smooth out your complexion, and reduce that puffy, tired look. You might even get compliments like, "Have you been sleeping better?" or "You look refreshed," when all you've done is cut out a few cookies or skip that sugary coffee in the morning. And here's another thing most people don't realize: sugar feeds bad bacteria in your gut. Your gut is like a control center for your entire body. It affects everything from digestion to immunity to mood. When you eat a lot of sugar, it feeds the bad guys in your digestive tract, the bacteria that cause bloating, discomfort, and all kinds of imbalance. Over time, this can lead to poor nutrient absorption, chronic fatigue, and more serious gut issues like leaky gut or irritable bowel symptoms. On the flip side, when you cut back on sugar and replace it with nourishing, fiber-rich foods, the good bacteria in your gut thrive. You digest better, your stomach feels flatter, and you just feel lighter, inside and out. It's one of those changes you might not expect, but once you feel it, you won't want to go back. And speaking of feeling lighter, let's talk about sleep. A lot of people over 60 struggle with sleep, falling asleep, staying asleep, or waking up feeling tired. Sugar messes with your sleep in more ways than one. First, it can cause spikes in blood sugar at night, which then drops suddenly, waking you up. It also triggers cortisol, your body's stress hormone, which can make it harder to relax and drift off. And if you're waking up groggy or feeling like you didn't sleep deeply, sugar might be part of the reason. Cutting back even a little can help you sleep more soundly. And better sleep means better healing, more energy, and clearer thinking the next day. It's one of the fastest ways to feel younger without doing anything extreme. You just wake up more refreshed, and that sets the tone for your whole day. Now I know this can feel overwhelming, especially if sugar has been a big part of your life for a long time. And let's be honest, it's comforting. There's something warm and familiar about those sweet treats we grew up with. Maybe you always had dessert after dinner, or you shared pastries on special occasions. Food is emotional. It's part of our memories and connections with others. But here's the thing, you can still enjoy food. You can still feel comfort, connection, and joy around the table without relying on sugar. There are delicious alternatives: naturally sweet fruits, warm spices like cinnamon and vanilla, rich flavors like roasted nuts or dark chocolate with very little sugar. You don't have to deprive yourself. You just have to shift. And you don't have to do it all at once. In fact, the best results often come from small, steady steps. Start with one thing. Maybe you swap your sugary yogurt for a plain version with fresh fruit. Or you choose sparkling water with a splash of lemon instead of soda. Or you stop putting sugar in your coffee. Each little change adds up. Your taste buds adjust. Your cravings fade. And your body begins to respond with more energy, less pain, and more clarity. I've seen people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s make this shift and feel like they've turned back the clock. They walk easier. They laugh more. Their faces light up. Because sugar doesn't just weigh down your body, it weighs down your spirit. And when you let it go, even just a little, you start to rise again. This isn't about being perfect. It's about feeling better. Living fuller. Having more good days. And that's what I want for you, more days where you wake up feeling strong and ready to enjoy the things you love, with the people you love. Next, we'll dive into something many people overlook when it comes to sugar: how it affects your bones, your eyesight, and even your independence as you age. how it affects your bones, your eyesight, and even your independence as you age. And these are big ones, because they don't just influence how you feel day to day, they determine how well you move through life. How freely you walk, how confidently you drive, how easily you do the little things, like reading a book or cooking a meal. Let's talk bones first. You've probably heard a lot about calcium and vitamin D when it comes to bone health, and yes, those are important. But here's what doesn't get talked about enough: sugar is actually a silent thief when it comes to your bones. It increases the amount of calcium you lose through urine, which means even if you're eating enough or taking supplements, your body might not be holding onto it the way it should. Over time, this weakens your bones and puts you at a higher risk for fractures and breaks. And what's scary is that bone loss often happens without any signs, until something happens. A small fall becomes a big injury. A tiny misstep leads to a cracked hip. And recovering from something like that in your 60s or 70s isn't like it was when you were younger. It takes longer. It's harder. And it can steal your mobility and independence in ways that are just heartbreaking. But there's good news: you can absolutely protect your bones, and reducing sugar is a powerful step. When you cut back on sugar, especially the processed kinds, your body holds onto calcium better. Your bones stay stronger. And when you pair that with a little movement, gentle walks, light stretching, even dancing in your kitchen, you build resilience that keeps you steady and upright. Now, let's shift to something equally important: your eyesight. Our vision naturally changes with age. Maybe you've noticed you need brighter light when you read, or small print just seems to keep getting smaller. That's normal. But what's not normal is vision loss that's made worse by what you eat. And sugar plays a surprisingly harmful role here too. High sugar intake can damage the tiny blood vessels in your eyes, especially if you've been told you're pre-diabetic or diabetic. These little vessels are delicate, and when blood sugar spikes over and over again, they become inflamed, leaky, or even closed off entirely. This is what leads to diabetic retinopathy and other age-related eye issues that can cause blurred vision, dark spots, or even blindness over time. And you don't have to be diabetic for sugar to affect your eyes. Even mild spikes in blood sugar can contribute to oxidative stress in the eyes, the kind of internal wear and tear that accelerates aging. But when you ease up on the sugar, you give those vessels a chance to function better, you protect your retina, and you support sharper vision. And if you enjoy things like reading, gardening, puzzles, crafts, or just seeing your grandkids' faces clearly, then protecting your vision becomes a gift, not just for you, but for everyone you love spending time with. Now, here's something that touches nearly every part of your life: independence. As we age, independence becomes more and more precious. Being able to move freely, take care of yourself, come and go as you please, it all adds up to a life that feels full and dignified. And one of the most underappreciated ways sugar gets in the way of that is through something called sarcopenia, or age-related muscle loss. You might not think sugar is connected to muscle, but it is. High sugar diets create inflammation that affects muscle recovery and repair. They lead to insulin resistance, which reduces your body's ability to build and maintain lean muscle. And they increase fat accumulation, especially around the belly and organs, which can sap your strength and slow you down. When muscles shrink, simple things become harder: climbing stairs, lifting groceries, getting up from a chair. Your balance suffers. Your stamina dips. And you might start to feel like your world is getting smaller, not because you want it to, but because your body just doesn't cooperate the way it used to. But again, cutting sugar, even slowly, even partially, can change that. Your muscles respond better. Your energy improves. You feel more stable on your feet, more capable in your daily life. And that feeling of "I've still got it," that's priceless. You don't need to aim for perfection. You just need to aim for progress. Every time you make a choice to skip the added sugar and choose something whole and nourishing instead, you're telling your body, "I care about you. I believe in your strength." And your body responds. It really does. You start to notice your joints don't ache as much. Your mind feels a little sharper. You're less tired in the afternoon. You're more confident doing the things you love, whether that's walking the dog, gardening, volunteering, or traveling. And perhaps the most beautiful change of all? You start to feel in control again. Sugar addiction is sneaky. It makes you feel like you need it to get through the day, to feel good, to cope. But once you step back, even a little, you realize that power is yours, not sugar's. It's not about giving up joy. It's about reclaiming it. There's a deep sense of peace that comes when your body feels like it's working with you, not against you. And that's what happens when you stop flooding it with processed sugar and start feeding it what it truly needs: simple, whole foods that fuel your vitality. Water instead of soda. A bowl of berries instead of a frosted donut. A warm herbal tea instead of a syrupy coffee drink. None of these are sacrifices, they're steps toward a fuller, freer life. And if you're wondering where to begin, start by listening to your body. Notice how you feel after a sugary snack versus a nourishing meal. Notice how your energy shifts. How your mood responds. Trust yourself. You know what makes you feel truly good. You are not too old to make a change. You are not too far gone. Your body is still listening. And every bite is a chance to speak to it with love, with care, and with intention. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Have you tried cutting back on sugar? What changes have you noticed? Let's support one another. We're all on this path together. If you found this helpful, give the video a like so others can find it too. And if you'd like more videos like this, simple, inspiring, and practical tips to feel your best at any age, make sure to subscribe. There's so much more to come, and I don't want you to miss it. You deserve to feel strong, steady, and full of life. No matter your age. No matter your past habits. You can always choose again. You can always start fresh. Here's to a future that's lighter, brighter, and full of vitality. Here's to living your best life at any age.